We're good.
Really need a fade out on that. It's so harsh.
It's so abrupt. Yeah, it really is. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back from the weekend. Hopefully you guys had a good one. This is the EV Strategy Show right here on the OddsShopper YouTube channel. Question for you guys. Greg and I were talking about something. Truthfully, your opinion does not matter. We're going to do it anyway, but I want to get your thoughts. No, I'm kidding. Your opinion always matters here. So we were thinking on Wednesday, I don't know how many of you guys are. By the way, Brett Hunter said massive success so far with K props. Yeah, that's awesome. Mostly K props for me for MLB right now. But we were talking about this today. We're like, all right, what there are very few sports where you have an opportunity to sweat games during the day. Right? Other than football, of course, on a Sunday. But I like to be in solitude, Greg. I like my isolation. It's a novelty, right? You only have 18 weeks, whereas baseball, you have 162 games. You got like 6 months. So we were thinking, if you guys are familiar with Playback, very, very cool platform. Greg uses it all the time, every day, Monday through Friday, live before log goes into Playback, and they sweat the games together. They talk about late swap for DFS. They break down a lot of bets coming up for the games later on in the night. We're thinking, what better way to do this show? At least sometimes. It doesn't have to be every day. It won't be every day because you're not going to have day games all of the time. But a lot of Mondays, particularly Wednesdays and Thursdays, you will. What if we could simulcast it here, but also did the show in Playback where we could find bets, sweat bets together, and literally watch the games live as they happen? To me, I don't know, man. That sounds like a lot of fun to get to watch the games and bet sports and break down everything while also placing bets at the same time.
Yeah. So my dream for Playback, if they're able to add a bunch of sports in it and it really takes off, is that we would be able to have like kind of an all day running, almost like TV channel where we're just showing different games on screen. We've got different people, either whether it's us or people from Tails, jump on and can give out bets while we're watching the games there. But I think today's Monday, Wednesday. So 2 days for Monday would be perfect for that. Cause like you said, we've got afternoon baseball. We can't control what the baseball schedule is. So a lot of days there just aren't going to be afternoon games, but on a day like Wednesday, we could watch the games with the games actually being shown on screen while giving out some bets like we do here. So I think that would be a fun trial. And then hopefully you guys show up for it.
Definitely. Mr. Mike, we're talking about day games, man. That'd be even better. Because, yeah, I understand the whole getting the kids to bed thing. Like my 4-year-old's going to her dance class tonight with my wife. I'm going to be home with my 1.5-year-old while they're there and just let her run around while I jam bets. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. Might get a few in. Yeah, a couple. Might get a couple. And then that guilt creeps in and I'm like, oh, you fucking asshole. It's like, pay attention, you know?
You need her to open up her own account.
That's what I need to do. Oh, dude, she likes to open up the back door. Like if I have recycling or like trash bags or something, I'll throw them out on the back patio and then at the end of the night bring them down to the trash, right? She likes to throw them out. Well, she threw one out and I wasn't paying attention and my 70-pound dog tried to barrel outside and just knocked her over and she fell. Dude, this is fell on her face onto the cement. And I'm just ready to pick her up and see her leaking. My wife's yelling at me. And thank God it was just like a small abrasion, but my heart dropped. Anyway, be careful placing portfolio EV bets with children around.
That's why you have to be 21 years or over to bet in most states.
That's why I'm 38.
That's the reason why.
Makes no difference. Anyway, glad you guys could join us. Happy Monday. If you don't mind, take a single second, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. It goes a long way for us. And leave a comment down below if you're watching or listening after the fact. And of course, if you're watching on X, go ahead. Hit us with a like, a retweet, a quote tweet, anything. You know, people should know about this for sure. I had a rough night last night, or a rough day. But the funny thing is my closing line value was excellent yesterday. Like it's just one of those days where FanDuel didn't. A lot of times my day goes as FanDuel goes. And if it's really good, I had a great day on FanDuel. It's just the way it is. But FanDuel was kind of fine yesterday. It was the other books where I'm more heavily limited that I just didn't have a great day. But going back, looking at the CLV I got, looking at the closing line value on almost every one of, or I'll say line movement or odds movement on all the bets that I've gotten thus far, everything's been really good today. So I stay the course when I have a bad day. If I looked at it, Greg, and it was like minus 3% closing line value, I'd be scratching my head going, all right, that's a little, that's a bit of an issue. But it was like 2.5% positive CLV. That's just one of those days,
Yeah, and I know for myself as well, it wasn't a great day, it wasn't a terrible day either. But it's funny because kind of the inverse of you, where for myself, I ended up losing the majority of my FanDuel bets, but did really well elsewhere. So like you and I were comparing some results and texting each other last night. So my actual bets went 109 and 80 and 85 yesterday. It was the final tally of my bets, but I ended up down slightly just because I did really well on the books where I have smaller bet amounts. But then it was like late basketball games. I went like 0-5 on the FanDuel bets that were late.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So then it was like I was doing well until those final games, which I kind of felt was going to be the case when I was texting you last night. I was like, I'm doing okay now,
You
but I
did
think
say
my
that.
late FanDuel bets are going to lose.
Let's get some bets in. Let's have some fun. That Martin Perez, by the way, I bet under 4.5 Ks at like minus 138 earlier. I would assume you did as well. That was a good bet, but it's still popping as a good bet.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, I saw it on your screen and then I couldn't find it on mine. So I went into placed bets and there it was. I went into FanDuel and there's not even a cash out option because the line's entirely different. Big movement there. But even at 3.5, given that it's minus 110 now, we're still showing good value there. You look at some of these other spots, like look at all of these other 3.5s outside of your fake books like Sugar House, Unibet, and Bet Rivers, and you're still looking at really heavy juice to the under on 3.5 for Martin Perez. Would you bet this twice is the question if you already bet it at 4.5 and assuming FanDuel allowed it?
Yeah. So the answer is yes, with the caveat being I've already bet it 3 times. So I'm not going to bet it a 4th time. A 2nd time I did. I bet it. So here's what I bet it. I bet it at the under 4.5 line. And then the line moved. I bet it under 3.5 at plus 110. I bet it on Fanatics and DraftKings at plus 105. And now the line is minus 110. So I've already got it under 4.5. I've already got it plus money multiple times under 3.5. So I'm not going to bet it again for that reason. A 2nd time, though, a 3rd time, yeah, I did that. But I'm not going to bet it again at the minus 110 number.
Yeah. A 3rd time might be tough. 2nd time, not too bad. Brett said he ended up getting rid of NBA until the playoffs start. I'll be honest with you, man. I haven't, and I won't. Last April was one of the best ROI months I've had. Last April. And that was the funny thing is I got smoked in baseball last April, but I had an amazing NBA. I look at my last week in NBA. Was it great? No, but it was still, let's see here. It was still 2.5% ROI. So it's still positive, Greg. And that was a down week overall. I don't know what you're doing with that NBA, but I have no intention of stopping. Now, look, it's a personal preference. I understand people can get spooked by some of this injury stuff, but I understand a lot of times these books just aren't going to post stuff when guys are questionable or when you have these pretty like telling situations. I've seen people in Discord going, I'm only betting teams that are competing for the playoffs. That doesn't make any sense either, if I'm being completely honest with you. Last April in NBA, I had Greg, you want to know my ROI was last April in the NBA?
12%.
9.6%.
Oh, I was pretty close.
What'd you say?
I said 12%.
12. Okay. But essentially round up to 10%. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to change anything. If you wanted to make the argument, and maybe you want to do this, Greg, that the NBA injury reporting is different this April than it was, or will be different this year than it was last year, fine. Maybe I could understand that. But I personally am not course correcting. I'll do what's been good to me in the past.
Yeah, and I am pulling my NBA results from the month right now so I could share them with you guys on screen. But like I did pretty well overall. I placed nearly 6,000 bets for NBA in March, 5.5% ROI, so up $5,500. Like I'm not gonna punt on that. It was last week. It wasn't my best week of the entire month or anything like that, but overall the results have been really good. I also, if you look at the graph here, my first week of March wasn't good. So my first week of March wasn't great. My last week of March wasn't great, but it's still been really profitable overall. I'm not going to let a week or 2 weeks kind of dictate anything too significant from what I'm going to be doing.
So you will continue betting the NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Guys, even if you wanted to, if you felt like super uncomfortable, maybe cut your bet. If you're flat betting, cut your bet size in half or something like that. Do what you want, but I would caution at the very least against fully axing basketball at this time of the year. All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to pull some promos up as well. Mr. Mike, unders and playoffs are a bit more uncomfortable. These books adjust for that stuff. They do.
Yeah. So keep in mind, we have a market-based algorithm. Anything the market knows about, it's included in our algorithm. It's included in the lines. It's including in the projections. There are going to be things that get missed, or there are things you could beat the books to. But for something like for the playoffs, just overs hit readily. Whatever the situation is, it's being taken into account for in the books. It's not like the NBA playoffs, like they're going on, and the books have no clue. It's players playing extra minutes. It's taken into account in the projections as well.
Yep, I had 6.4% ROI for NBA last year in May. And that would be that's clearly just playoffs. So again, I don't really intend on changing anything. Let's see if we got any good promos today. That'll be the first thing to dive into and have some fun with that, because I would assume that we're going to have something decent. And then June, I didn't place many NBA bets last June, not a ton, of course, but still 6% ROI. So just throwing it out there. Do as you please. Anyway, Greg, I'm pulling up the books now. See what we got going on. If we have some MLB props, I have no problem having some fun and maybe even originating a little bit of stuff there in the event that we don't have any like homer props or whatever. But we've got the same game parlay, 30% profit boost for FanDuel today. So that is one of them. That's for NBA. And that is only same game parlay. You also have 30% same game parlay boost for MLB. 20% profit boost for women's college basketball. I'll let you originate there. And then on DraftKings, we have the no sweat home run. That is always fun. Get a bonus bet back if you lose. We have no sweat every day for women's college basketball. And then the same triple boost pack on DraftKings. So we got a few things we can work with here.
All right. Yeah, I have a bet that I posted to Twitter for an MLB future. So if we want to talk about that, we could look at the.
Oh, is it your Jake DeGrom one?
Yeah, I think I had a feeling I was potentially going to want to bet him, but I wanted to wait to see how he looked yesterday, just because it was his first start coming off of Tommy John surgery of the year, and hasn't pitched all that much the last couple of years. I just wanted to make sure his stuff was intact. He had a 20% swinging strike rate, 16 swing and misses in the 5 innings.
He's filthy.
So yeah, he looked, average fastball velocity was 97 miles per hour. We haven't seen a full season out of him in, many years now. So I really just wanted to see him pitch. And then as long as everything checked out, I was like, all right, I'm going to bet. It exceeded my expectations. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. Obviously, there's a big question on will he be able to stay healthy, but he's kind of priced as if it's not like he should be the favorite. And he's priced as somewhat of a long shot. The best available line is 14-1 over on Fanatics. FanDuel has the line at 12-1. So Jacob DeGrom, considering how good he looked yesterday, obviously whether he stays healthy or not is a bit of a risk. But Chris Sale hadn't been healthy in 8 years, and he stayed healthy all of last year and won the NL Cy Young. So it wouldn't be the most insane thing in the world for him to be able to. Can he make it through 25 plus starts? I hope so. I think it's worth taking the chance at those odds.
What did you take it at?
I bet it at 12-1 on FanDuel and 14-1 on Fanatics.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
And Fanatics has kind of decent limits for futures. It's actually better than FanDuel for futures.
So, is that right?
Yeah. So it's even better that there's the better line on Fanatics. I was able to bet $50 on Fanatics, and the max bet on FanDuel was $33.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. So let's do it. Couple things too. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up. Always happy to answer them, whether it's on X, Twitter, whether it's here on YouTube. We could do this. We could build something out because there does look like on FanDuel we might actually be able to get a same game parlay. The only problem is I'm looking at assists here. I don't want to bet that. So probably something I stay away from. We could do DraftKings as well. Likely something going to be popping up there. But after we do this, I want to jump into the parlay generator and just pull some up, and just grab them immediately.
For sure. I've got DraftKings loading up right now, so we'll see what it is that's populating over on DraftKings. And what is it? A four-leg same-game parlay X? Is that what we need?
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be 4 from the same game.
Gotcha. Yeah, we just need 2 from the same game and then 2 others, and we'll see what ends up popping up. And all right, let's see what we've got. All right, we've got a couple from, this is easily doable.
Oh, man, I got a decent amount of Elvin Rodriguez. Okay.
Playing the early baseball slate?
Yeah. Well, here, you know why? Because originally Elvin Rodriguez was supposed to just be an opener. And then we got a report today, this morning, that now they're hoping for 80 pitches. That's a lot different than opener status.
Yeah, gotcha. I didn't really look at the early baseball slate. It's been a crunch for me though, because I've been playing MLB and NBA at night, and the locks overlap. Sort of like at baseball, like yesterday, baseball locked at 7:05, NBA locked at 7. If it is going to be an issue for me in the near future when a bunch of players get ruled out for NBA right before lock, and then baseball also, like, there's a starting lineup that changes right before lock, or like a new lineup comes out. So I know it's an impending disaster, but I'm sticking with it for now anyway.
Yeah, not me. Just give me baseball right now. So much easier, dude. So much easier. Like you know who's in, you know who isn't in. It's that simple. But all right, so let's build something out here. Christopher Sanchez under K's against Colorado. That's always fun. That Colorado lineup stinks, man. There are a couple teams right now in baseball that are so bad, to the point where, just terrible. But we don't need to even throw that in anyway. And here's why I won't do that. Because DraftKings has nerfed my ability to bet any parlays that include baseball legs. So not to say we could do it with this specific boost anyway, but like if I have a 3 or 4 leg parlay with 3 NBA and 1 MLB strikeout prop, dude, I'm talking like $1.50 that they're allowing. If I took that out and added an NBA prop, now it's like $5 or $6. Totally different.
Interesting.
Yeah, try that next time. They really don't let you get much down at all on these MLB parlays. But let's build one out, a little same game parlay plus here, and see if we can get something good.
All right, so I've got the same game parlay selected, and pretty easy to start by identifying that we're going to want Spencer, whether it's part of a same game parlay or just an individual. We're going to want the Spencer Dinwiddie under 8.5 assists line here. And then if we look here, we've got, easy. Yeah, we can compare that. We can combine this. This probably isn't going to be in the same game parlay, the Najee Marshall one, but we can include D'Lo under 2.5 threes.
Sure,
that'll almost certainly be there. Zach LaVine under 20.5 points. That will absolutely be there. Could we do it with baseball as well?
No, that's what I was saying. You, for this specific one, you can't. No.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. So then I guess we could add in Miles Bridges over 2.5 threes. I don't think the other ones would be there. So we'll have Spencer Dinwiddie under 8.5 assists, D'Angelo Russell under 2.5 threes, Zach LaVine under 20.5 points, and then Miles Bridges over 2.5 threes. That comes out to plus 1272 odds with a 13% expected EV.
Okay. Scroll it just so I can see these.
Yeah.
Levine under points, and then Bridges over 2.5 threes.
And for reference, this is plus 1271 on DraftKings. It's 10-1 over on Onyx. It's 9-1 on Novig and Hard Rock. Yeah, all the other books have it in like the plus 900 range compared to the nearly plus 1300 we're getting on DK.
Let me see these odds here. 145, 130, 105, 135. Okay, great. So the correlated odds, the odds you'd actually get on DK are plus 1184. Boost it though to plus 1422.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that is perfect. So already a good bet turning into a great bet. See, like DraftKings allowed 750 there. If I added, watch, let me try it right now. Let me try to add. I'm not going to go same game parlay. I just want to, for the sake of attempting all this.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm going to go. Do we still have the Christopher Sanchez? We do, right? Yeah. So I'll go Dinwiddie under on assists at minus 145. And guys, just if you're new and we're building these out, the reason we're doing this on DraftKings specifically is because this is where this would not be, Greg could scroll like he already did. This would not be a positive EV play on, Onyx or on, what is that? Novig. Is that Novig?
Yeah,
Assuming you could.
Yeah, Novig, Onyx, Hard Rock, STN.
Oh, there's another one. This is fun. Cool bet.
All right. I was going to call it Polar Bear, but cool.
How much do you know about Cool Bet?
This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. Here's what I know about it. I know the name, and I learned the name 26 seconds ago.
I was doing a show with Eric on Friday, going over the introduction, the addition of Novig and Profit X into our tools, and I was like, "Are you familiar with that? Because I have no clue what that is." Yeah. By the way, guys, we just added Novig and Profit X, so peer-to-peer sites, huge. I mean, it's really, really huge. The fact that we've added them, you should add those into the portfolio as well, so we can show people. But yeah, we've had this question all the time here on this show, all the time on Twitter. If you're looking for those, to supplement the Onyx and the other social sports books, now you need peer-to-peer. They're legal in like 42 states. So very likely, if you're in California or Texas, you're good. Yeah. So check it out. And by the way, it's always free here for your first week. If you haven't checked it out yet, everything, all of our tools, all of our plus EV tools, the parlay generator, the parlay builder, the top bets tool, the mass entry tool, the bankroll manager, all that stuff that's going to help you treat betting more so as an investment than an emotional game. All of that is free for your first week. Link is in the description of this video right here. All you got to do is click that and you'll get your free week out of the gate. Not a single cent. If you don't like it, just cancel before it's up. That's all you got to do. But do this.
I'm an emotionless robot like me. I place the bets.
That's what I am.
I place the bets. I check the next day to see how they do, maybe late at night.
Yep.
Win more often than not. Sometimes I lose. I win more often though. And at the end of the day, it's just like, hey, here's where we're at. Let's place the next bets.
It's exactly what I do, man. You become a soulless, emotionless robot, and that's good. If you treat sports betting as anything other than that, and like as an emotional game, you're screwed, man. Like you will not find a long-term profitable bettor who chases a loss, chases a near certain loss by hammering live bets in the same game all the way throughout and then losing them all. Like, if you're held captive by your emotion, if your betting decisions are controlled by emotions and not logic, you're toast. You guys know that. Anyway, this is a way to not do that. Treat it like an investment with serious compounding returns. Link down there. First week's always free. Just get as many bets as possible. Another thing, another great way to detach emotion. If you have 4 bets going one day, you're going to be super emotional because you're following all 4 of those. Greg, if you have 180 bets, there's no way you can be emotional even if you want, because every bet in and of itself is essentially meaningless. That's the best thing about all of this.
I don't even know what I have bets on a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So one thing you could do if you really did want to sweat, all of the bets individually, which also, if you are looking for sweats, if you go to Pick'It, I don't know if you ever look at this, but they do have a breakdown of each game and the bets you have on. So if you ever wanted to, just figure out like, oh my God, 200 bet. Like if you like betting because you do like the sweat of it all, one thing that you could still do is once you're synced to Pick'It, click on the individual game you might be watching. It'll show you a list of all the bets you have. And then instead of just having like, 2-3 bets per day that you're looking at, then you would have all of these different bets. And it's kind of like no matter what you watch, you do have something to be rooting for.
Definitely. Sometimes I like to torture myself. I go and click on today, and then I start scrolling like live bets and pending bets, and you slowly hit pending, and you're like, all right, how's this look? But I mean, that's about the extent of it for me. All right, so I built a 4-leg parlay.
Okay.
Spencer Dinwiddie under 8.5 assists, Zach LaVine under 20.5 points, Christopher Sanchez under 5.5 total strikeouts, and Chris Paddock under 4.5 strikeouts. By the way, that Sanchez and Paddock strikeouts both look good at plus 115. If I were to bet this over on DK, right? If I were to bet this on DK, it looks like it removed one of them, but I still have a baseball bet in there, so that's fine. I still have Sanchez. Let's see what it'll
Yeah, the Dinwiddie bet's off the board now.
Is it?
Yes, because I tried to place it after reading it off to you, and the Dinwiddie bet was gone.
Okay. Yeah, it pulled 2 of them.
Okay, so Dinwiddie's gone from 8.5 assists to 7.5 assists.
Okay. So that just shows that we're getting, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, even on a bad day, if I look back and I go, man, I got massive closing line value on all of these. Yeah. Brett Hunter, look for those beautiful green circles in pending. That's damn right, dude. That's exactly right. Yep. It's exactly what you're trying to do. It doesn't always work out that way, though.
Yeah, and because they also, I don't know if you ever noticed, because they do the live, I don't even know what to call it, but like live progress of the bets, where it'll kind of give you like an estimated, like a partial green or partial red circle, depending on.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's not for the pending though, for the live bets.
Yeah, and I know, but I'm saying it's the same progress bar.
Oh yeah,
one of them.
The difference is it's frequently inaccurate. It's frequently inaccurate, where there are ones where it'll be like, hey, I bet this guy for under 5.5 rebounds. They have 5 rebounds at halftime, and it's got like a green circle somewhere around. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know, all the time. 373 for a 3-legger with 1 MLB prop. So better than usual. Yeah, better than usual. Can we go back to the top bets tool?
Absolutely.
But yeah, come join us for a week, guys. If you're new to this, it's an awesome way to bet, especially now with MLB in action. We have so many different sports. Do we have anything for FanDuel?
We still got the Martin, but the Martin Perez prop continues to drop. Yeah, funny, like we were talking about before. Now we'll be talking about if we bet at -110, do we want to bet it again at -118? You just keep getting value betting the under. Martin Perez, the way this is going, his strikeout props can be like -1.5 a couple hours from now. So we've got a handful of NHL points props. Not that much for NBA. We've got the one Martin Perez strikeout prop. Yeah, not really that much to look at right now from FanDuel.
All right. Go to DraftKings. Do you have a DK one specifically? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, strikeout props have been really, really good. I mean, last year on FanDuel, they were like almost 8% ROI, which that's huge. I was going to see if we could build out a DraftKings MLB parlay.
Ooh, for MLB,
because we got games coming up this afternoon. Sanchez and Paddock both pitch this afternoon.
Okay, so yeah, we could generate parlays right here. How many legs do you want to put in them? Say 3?
Sure.
So we do 3-leg parlays.
But we can't choose by sport here. That's the thing.
Yeah. But we'll have, here we go. So for the ones that have Paddock and Sanchez here, Chris Paddock under 4.5 strikeouts, Christopher Sanchez under 5.5 strikeouts, Khalil Ware under 25.5 PRA. So still mixing some NBA in with it. This is plus 800 odds with a nearly 9% expected EV.
That's actually the exact same parlay I just placed.
Perfect. And then right down here as well, Zach Levine with the Christopher Sanchez and the Chris Paddock prop. This one gets to 8.4% expected EV at the exact same odds, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, there's different ways to combine Paddock and Sanchez together with the other props that look decent. James Harden under 5.5 rebounds, Tyler Hero under 6.5 assists. See, there's a bunch of them that we could place that are like 6 to 8% EV.
I like the Sanchez and Paddock one. I will say though, for what it's worth, and see this is what's tough because I pay a lot of attention to baseball, and sometimes you start to second and triple guess it. But I mean, you got Paddock against the White Sox, you got Sanchez at home against the Rockies. That's always enjoyable. What I would like to do is pull up some homer props, and what we can do since they're not populating in the EV tool right now. We could go to the live odds page, Greg, and go to DraftKings and just see if DraftKings just see if there's a positive edge anywhere for DraftKings. I actually have been finding a lot of these with a positive edge just using the free live odds tool. This is a free tool, by the way, guys. And I mean, we'll see. There might not be anything, but the worst case scenario is you find somebody that you like and click home runs one more time. You find somebody that you like, and if they have just the best odds on DraftKings, then you have that. What's funny is if you look at our historical results from last year, DraftKings, remember you and I we were idiotic one day. We were sitting here after a show. This was like months ago. And we're like, how the hell was DraftKings positive historical ROI with like an average, do you remember this? Like with an average expected win rate of 70%. And then you're like, oh, dude, we're idiots. They have two-way markets on home runs.
Yeah. Yeah. We were trying to figure out, it made no sense to us. We were about to send the devs. We think there's an error in the data. And I was like, hold the phone. We are absolute morons.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see what there is. If there's anything on DK, not only that though, we can see if there's anything anywhere. I mean, I am always willing and happy to bet home run props.
So walk me through this. What is it that your process has been? I haven't bet any home run props this year.
Well, okay. First of all, if you want, go up into the filters.
Okay.
Right there. You can select your sharp sources if you'd like. Right.
Okay.
So on the right side, you can select what sources you would consider to be sharp. So go ahead and do that. Like if you're just doing this for home runs, and I'm not saying you have the magic 8 ball here, what would you look at as sharp sources for FanDuel?
So I would remove
for home runs.
Yeah, so I would remove FanDuel just because the market is different on FanDuel compared to other books, so it gets priced differently. But it's because the rules are different. It's FanDuel, it's action. Whether as long as the player gets in the game, it doesn't matter if they start or not. So a lot of times you'll see.
Well, they need a plate appearance. It's not if they plate appearance, correct? Only that. It's not if they're in the field or anything. They have to have a plate appearance.
Okay, maybe. I just know it's different. So on pretty much every other book, the player has to start. For FanDuel, they just have to enter the game and potentially get the at bat. But anyway, like I don't like to compare FanDuel to DraftKings to some of these other books, just because you're kind of comparing slightly different markets. It doesn't matter for the marquee guys. Like Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's going to be looked at the same across these different books. But for somebody like the 8 or 9 hitter, where if they are not starting to avoid in other books, you're taking on a lot of extra risk on FanDuel, because a lot of times some of these like catchers, they're not going to be starting games, but they'll often enter games like a pinch hitter or something like that. So anyway, I don't like to select FanDuel.
And also FanDuel's a one-way market.
Yeah, so let's go. All right, we'll take Pinnacle. We'll take Circa. You know what I think is kind of interesting? Do we want to include the exchanges?
That's what I was thinking too. And I was asking you about this the other day because you and I haven't really dug into the exchanges all that much. We haven't needed to yet, and I'm sure that that time will come. And I'm going to start for sure. But you do have to think there's got to be a super sharp element to some extent with these exchanges. Just going that, given that a lot of people who are limited at other books are going to these exchanges.
Yeah, so let's try it this way. So we've got a couple of books that we consider generally kind of sharper and Pinnacle and Circa in the home run market, and then also we'll go to some of the public exchanges in ProfitX and Novig and add them, and we'll see what this cooks up for us.
Assuming it loads.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, look, the first step I'm taking is just out of the gate, seeing if I have the best odds on a specific book, because you know as well as I do, if you're looking for a long shot homer, like let's say it's a 9-1, that literally that same home run could be 4.5, 5-1 somewhere else. Just, a million ways that you can bet bad home runs, even if it's a guy that has a high likelihood of hitting a home run. Like you grab a guy at plus 900 and every other book he's at plus 600. At least, at the very least, you're getting great odds on that with a potentially big payout. So, that's one way to look at it. But now here you could actually see if there's an edge in some of these spots, Greg. And this is what I like.
By the way, to Brett's point, we're good. It just took a second to load. You only have to press save if you want to save those filters for future use. If you just want to have them in for like a one-off, we're good. So it should have the edge book saved here. What do you do next after you have the edge book selected?
A lot of times I already have matchups in mind that I want to look at, right? So like if I know if there's a pitcher, in a hitter friendly park, struggles against righties or struggles against lefties, or these specific hitters hit a specific pitch well and this guy throws it at a 50% clip. There's all of that I'm factoring into, right? If I'm trying to like originate my own home run props. But what you really can do is you see edge on that second column over to the left. You can see if there's a positive edge on these bets based on the sharp sources that we have in our inputs. So I keep going all the way over. You'll see edge where it's in green. So like this Andrew Benintendi, for example, there must be somewhere, I don't know which book it is, a 8% edge on Benintendi. Harrison Bader is another one where we're showing a big edge on the over a half a home run on FanDuel at what is that, plus 830. Again, look at some of these other books. Like Caesars is plus 550. What's Pinnacle on Harrison Bader today?
Yeah, so the Harrison Bader is the kind of guy that I would be kind of skeptical of betting it on FanDuel because he's very live to not start today. So,
well, no, that game is at 2:00.
Okay, never mind. Okay, so if he's already in the lineup, doesn't matter at all. Then it's a non-factor. So yeah, as long as players already confirm the starting lineup, I usually wait for that if I'm betting a FanDuel prop. For the Benintendi one, though, it's on Fanatics at plus 800. Like that looks pretty playable to me.
Yeah, here, keep scrolling. I actually enjoy this process, especially if you have some guys in mind that you already like. Guys, I've said a million times, even if you have no intention of ever using our tools or the Portfolio EV tools, I would say it's a mistake, especially since the first week's free. But you don't have to. Use the live odds tool and at least select your sharp sources. So if you are originating your own bets, you can at least make sure that you're making the right decision. Even if you are originating them with a terrible process, at the very least, you're getting the best odds.
Yeah, we got Jose Miranda plus 750. That's also an early game at 210. Well, I guess these are sorted by time soonest first. So all these ones are going to be locking relatively soon. Actually, it looks like almost all of the guys who are starting for the Twins are showing favorable FanDuel prop odds. Almost all of them. Ryan Jeffers. We've got in here also Jose Miranda, Willie Castro, not quite, although close. So yeah, there's a lot of outlier lines on FanDuel for the Twins game.
And this is a guy in Martin Perez who I was thinking about this last night when I was looking over the matchups. I'm like, you have to. Martin Perez, I mean, the sweetest career. Like the guy just bounces around from team to team. Always, Greg, every year has a spot in the back of a rotation, like in the back end of a rotation. Every single year, this guy starts and pitches a lot of innings and gets paid every single year. And it's not like he's good, but he's not terrible. And he goes out there, he'll throw like 5 2/3, give up 3 runs, and that's the way it is. But I will say, he has never been a stranger to giving up right-handed power, ever. So some of those spots to me actually look decent. The only thing here, and you got to be careful about this sometimes, it's cold in Chicago today. It's 40 degrees in Chicago, but wind is blowing out to right center at 12 miles per hour. Still not hitter friendly weather. Very cold game.
Yeah, and then also with Martin Perez, to your point before, he is a pretty heavy ground ball pitcher. He's a very rare ground ball pitcher. Still gives up a bunch of home runs. So you look at Martin Perez, also pitches to a lot of contact, doesn't generate strikeouts, which is good for our strikeout prop bets that we've placed multiple times already today. But Martin Perez, he's had one outlier season in 2022 where he pitched really well. Other than that, he has been as borderline of a rotation guy as you could possibly have. Like, he's almost always right around 0 wins above replacement.
Yep.
0.5 last year, 0.4 the year before. So he had that one really good year, 2022, where he was 4 wins above replacement. Other than that, he has amassed a total of, it's like 12 wins above replacement in 12 years of pitching. So he is as definition of like a 4 or 5 starter as you could possibly get. And for whatever reason, like you said, teams just keep trotting him out to be an end of the rotation guy instead of trying somebody young or new, which is kind of a benefit of being a veteran, but we also know what he is.
Exactly. Almost a 40% fly ball rate to righties last year, 14% home run to fly ball rate, 1.5 home runs per 9 and a 4.7 xFIP. So, and an 18% K rate. So yeah, I mean, look, if there's going to be bad weather, at least you know this guy will cough it up. What about that Michael Massey spot? Is that on FanDuel as well? It is.
Yeah. So we got Michael Massey for over 0.5 home runs plus 600. And that is, looks like around plus 400 to plus 500 everywhere else.
Oh, Tyler, that's an interesting one. Type in Mitchell in the search bar, Greg.
Oops. Just trying to scroll.
You're
Come
good.
back. Come back. All right. Mitchell.
Yeah. Something from Tyler here in chat.
Yeah, let's see. Tyler says Mitchell is plus 1,700 on DraftKings. The next best is plus 1,150 on BetMGM, plus 870 on FanDuel.
Who's this? I assume Garrett. Yeah, Garrett Mitchell. Okay. So
yeah, looks.
Go ahead.
I guess there just aren't lines for the books that we had set as edge books.
Exactly.
But yeah, this Garrett Mitchell prop is way more favorable on DraftKings than it is anywhere else.
Look, if you're ever going to use this, if you're ever going to use your no sweat bet, why not? 17-1 on Garrett Mitchell. You could certainly do worse.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I assume there's something we have to opt into.
Yeah. He's also hitting in a dome, which is helpful. Instead of 40-degree temperatures. I mean, that's cold. That is cold.
All right. So let's see. Where's the, okay. No sweat home run every day. Let's opt in. Go to Garrett Mitchell.
And I assume it's like $5, but whatever. $5, it's 17-1.
Yeah. Not bad. And let me put the full $5 on it. Not a full $5 bet from DraftKings. That's nice.
Did it allow it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, with home runs, I wonder what they would allow on home runs for you.
I don't know. It wasn't very much last year.
No?
No.
Like, you don't think they'd give you a 50 spot?
Used to. Last year was pretty regular, like $6, $7, if I remember correctly.
For home runs?
Yeah.
No way. I want to try it. Watch, I'm going to put like 1,000 and it's going to accept it on fucking Garrett Mitchell. All right, all right, I opted in. Did you bet it?
Yep. Yeah, I put the $5 on it.
Sweet, that game starts in 20 minutes. That'll be a fun little sweat. All right. Any other promos we have? Let's see.
All right, so DraftKings, let's see. We did the same game parlay boost. But there's a lot of stuff in the promo page that I don't understand or know what it is.
Yeah, all the time, dude. And it's stuff that say, are there people out there who actually do it? Interesting. Nomad Hiker said Onyx has the same odds on Mitchell. They don't seem to move their MLB odds as fast as their NBA odds so far, at least. Maybe. I don't know. C Money said, I see some total baselines with an edge in the live odds tool, but how come I don't see them in the top bet section? Because the edge on the live odds tool is calculated differently than the top bets tool.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
kind of so the way that we do from the top bets tool is we have all the markets analyzed from a lot of different books. Some of them aren't even selectable here. And then it's a weighted algorithm where it'll be like, hey, this book accounts for 18%. This book accounts for 12%. And there's a bunch of different books factored in. And there's other parts of the equation as variables too, like line movement that's included into it now. So this is customizable where you kind of select your own markets that you want to set an edge with, but it's also nowhere near as sophisticated as what our actual algorithm is in the PortfolioEV tools.
Yeah, helpful, but not nearly as sophisticated. All right. There are some good FanDuel bets on the board right now for anybody trying to jam those FanDuel bets. I just got a Giddy prop in. I got a Dinwiddie over prop in, as a matter of fact. Been hammering these props over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, let's go back to the top bets page.
There was somebody in Discord saying that they weren't getting a lot of FanDuel bets lately, but I've been getting more FanDuel bets than ever. I averaged 45 FanDuel bets a week last week. That's a lot for FanDuel.
You mean a day?
A day, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot. That's more than I placed on FanDuel. What times of days were you placing them, and what are your min OS ratings that you're allowing?
Min OS 1 on everything for FanDuel. Only bet points and rebounds for NBA. Only betting right now shots on goal for NHL. And then only betting strikeouts for MLB. I had a couple total base props I did bet. But I'm limiting my bet size to half of what I typically would. So yeah, 45. I'm betting them the night before. I'm betting them in the early morning and then throughout the day. And I usually stop around like 5 Eastern.
So one thing that I've noticed is for NHL shots on goal, I'll usually get a couple at night and then a couple in the morning and then almost nothing the rest of the day for shots on goal. That is
right. Well, I get them the night before and then the morning. I don't usually get anything throughout the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Same exact for me.
Yep. NHL last week was profitable for me. This is why, people will fade a certain market or a certain sport. Brett, like what you guys were talking about earlier, I tend to just stick with it. Maybe I'll go and refine the process in my portfolios a little bit, but if something was super profitable for me all year and then I hit a rough patch, I'm just going to try and bet through it. I really have no alternatives at this point. The proof of concept for me is enough to where I don't really need to overthink things.
Yeah. So kind of related is looking through some of my results for the month. I was down on NHL for the month. And then last week I got a 25% ROI on NHL props. And now I'm way up for the month. And it's 3 bad weeks for the month betting NHL shots on goal props. And then 1 good week. And then it's positive for the month.
Yeah. Shots on goal props actually kept me above water on a couple of days last week. So I'll take it. I will take it. What are those up top? Is that BetMGM right there?
Let's see. So we have, BetMGM, Kawhi Leonard under 6.5 rebounds. That is -110 on BetMGM. The next best line is -120 on Novig. We've also got Spencer Dinwiddie under 7.5 assists, which we saw before that had moved on DraftKings. It's moved again on DraftKings. So this went from 8.5 -145 to 7.5 +110 on DraftKings to 7.5 +100. Now it's 7.5 -110. It is still 7.5 +110 over on BetMGM though.
When we release the placed bets tool, it's going to be real helpful for us to be able to place these. And then while we're on the show, just go in there and see how everything is moved.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be really interesting.
It'll be awesome. Because I used to do that before we got rid of the bet tracker, because it wasn't on us. It was the provider that we used. It wasn't very good. Before that, I would go in and I would look through everything, and green is good. Also, how about this? The Chris Paddock prop. If you already bet that, and you wouldn't have hid that, but that Chris Paddock prop actually just popped up on FanDuel plus 120 right now. So if that's something you bet at plus 115 on DraftKings, like say that were me, at the most maybe I'd get $20 down on that. Oh, you know what? That might be because we are right around lock. I've been a little cautious about this stuff. I've been a little cautious about betting these things right up until lock. I don't know if it's just me and I have an aversion to it, but it's something I typically don't like to do. And I think one thing that you can do to protect against that, if you want to do that, otherwise do your thing, is go into your portfolios and just toggle or just use a slider to take minimum 1 hour. That's actually what I do for a lot of my portfolios. So nothing will show up if it's within an hour of me of the game starting.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to relate to it just because you asked me if I bet stuff right up until lock. And to me, like I'm doing shows every night as games are about to lock. So it's not top of mind for me, nor do I really have the ability to do it while I'm doing the DFS shows. So it's not even a consideration. I would be interested to dive into some of the track data to see what actually is looking good or not good in terms of the different time frames. There is another bet that locks later that showed up that wasn't here earlier.
Ooh, Emerson Hancock
for under 4.5 strikeouts on FanDuel.
It's like the one guy in that rotation who isn't good.
Yeah, so we got him under 4.5.
Sure. Did I bet that already? I'm not seeing it. I did. Let me see. What is it? Minus 146?
Yep.
Let me see where I bet Emerson Hancock at. Let's see if I got bad movement or better movement.
Yeah, let me see if I bet this one.
I always, and you guys should do the same, always pay attention to this stuff. Because if you have a bad day and it's like, wow, all of my bets got amazing closing line value, what do you complain? What is there to complain about? It's short-term variance. I bet this at minus 126, Greg, and
Nice.
It's at minus 146 right now.
Yeah, so that's a ton of line movement in your favor. I have not bet this one yet, so I'm going to bet it right now.
I bet Ramon Urias at plus 190 to record two plus bases. Again, cut my bet size in half. Bet that at plus 190 on FanDuel. It's currently at plus 140. So I like seeing this. Now look, if everything was dependent on closing line value, I wouldn't be doing this show. I'd be living on a private island. All right. So you understand where I'm going with this. However, it is the number one indicator of long-term success. That's what I will say. Like if you're getting good CLV on all of these, it's the number one indicator of long-term success. Mind you, I didn't say day-to-day success because you're going to see, like, even if you're getting closing line value on that, and it's like, okay, you bet it at 126, minus 126, right? So that's saying what? Implied odds of 55.7%. And then what did we say it was now? 146?
It's 146 as of now.
So that's 59.3. It's still great line movement in your favor, but it's moving. The applied odds are moving 4%. So what I'm saying is there's still a 40+% chance you lose it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's for pretty much, and also a lot of the bets are plus money. We have sub 50% chance to end up winning a lot of them, like the total base props that you were talking about before. If you're betting something at plus 190, even if it moves all the way to plus 160, it's like, oh, cool, that's a crazy amount of line value. It's still going to lose way more often than it wins, though.
Exactly.
Same that's like if Mitchell's home run prop, if it moves to 12-1, we'll be like, look at all this line movement we got. Still going to win less than 10% of the time.
How did that Mitchell home run prop lose yesterday? I get questions like that. It's okay. It's understandable. You learn from it. Mr. Mike, do you guys double dip in that way? Hammered Sanchez under 6.5 earlier with a bit of juice. Then it appeared again at 5.5. Yeah, sure. The only reason I typically don't, if it's on FanDuel, is because I'm betting to the max anyway. So it's like, to win 80, sometimes 50, sometimes 40 if it's early enough. And then they just don't let me bet it again. But I would, yeah.
Yeah, so I talked about the DeGrom bet that I placed earlier. And there's a pretty good if he has another good start his last time out and he's able to make it through 2 starts without getting hurt, then the line's probably going to drop from the 12-1 number to 10-1. I would still want to bet it again at 10-1, but it's very random whether FanDuel lets you or doesn't let you rebet some of those markets. There was a bunch of teams. This is going to be really tilting for me about some of my NHL futures. I really, really wanted to bet the Bruins to miss the playoffs as many times as I could. And FanDuel just stopped letting me bet it at a certain point. And they are going to come nowhere close to making the playoffs. And it was plus money. So I'm going to make a couple $100s on this. And I tried for months every day to bet the Bruins under. And every once in a while I'd be like, here, you could bet another $28 on this. So I'd go do it. And I check every single day. And then eventually the line just moved from plus money to minus 400. And it wasn't bettable anymore. So I do when I can. It's just very random. I don't understand when they do and don't let you rebet stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's strange. But if you can do it, like the Sanchez one, the 5.5 and 6.5, I have no problem with that. But I maybe you have a different opinion here. It depends how much you're betting. If you're flat betting or if you're using like Kelly for this, I would personally wouldn't recommend, if you're using Kelly, to use the full recommended Kelly amount on both of those bets.
By the way, I think we had, as I was talking about it before, I just got a notification for an NHL shots on goal prop. Yeah, here it is. Tyson Forrester.
Oh.
Under 1.5 shots on goal plus 158.
A Lou Dort just popped up. I bet that as well. See, that Tyson Forrester is not there. Did I bet that? Let me see if I bet this last night.
There were other ones that I bet from the Flyers. That was not one of them, though.
I think that was one of the reasons that I was having some bad Saturdays or weekends, because I wasn't paying attention to the game time. And I feel like sometimes I would just bet stuff right before it locked, literally minutes before it locked. And I'm not saying those are all false positives popping up in the tools, but I'm not convinced that something that shows up with a 10 OS rating is really a 10 OS rating when it's minutes before the start of a game and it's marinated all day long. That to me seems unlikely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why don't I see this Forrester? I didn't bet it.
It's still there.
Huh. On FanDuel?
Yeah.
Well, that's odd.
Maybe it's one of those. They have done weird things with some NHL bets where they're different in different states.
I may have moved my NHL shots on goal to OS2, but I don't think I did. No, OS1. What are the odds on it?
Plus 158. Plus 150. Yeah, plus 158.
Huh. Everything is within my. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe you're right. Maybe just based on my state, it's not there, which is strange. That usually doesn't happen for shots on goal. Literally only for saves.
Yeah, that's the only market that I've seen it happen for. I don't think that's the case, but it's the only explanation I have off the top of my head. What if you just type him in FanDuel?
Let's see.
Foerster. He spells his name very stupid.
I'm just going the shots in this game. I already got it.
Forster.
Shots on goal. Yeah, minus.
Plus 158.
Wait. That. Oh, yeah, it's there. Why would that not pop up? That's so. There it is. It just popped up now. Very strange.
All right. Did you bet it?
Anyway, hey, appreciate you guys hanging out. Tyler, check now. It just popped up for me. If you haven't done so, guys, grab your free week. I mean, there's no better way to try it out for yourself, even if you wanted to bet small out of the gate. Even if you wanted to bet small. Patrick, no, negative HROI. I leave that. I want to see negative HROI bets that are in my portfolios. But plus, it's a positive HROI bet for shots on goal, NHL on FanDuel. Seven free days every day. If you don't like it, cancel. If you're crushing, you're probably going to stick around. That's why we do this. We want you guys to bet as much as you can for 7 days and kind of realize the power of it. Links in the description. Greg and I both have our DMs open. See that down there? That little crawler? That's where you can follow both of us. G. Ehrenberg DFS, me at Laffy_D. Hit us up. I answer questions all the time. I know you do as well. If you've been on the fence, perfect time to jump in. Baseball just started. We're going to start populating a lot more MLB bets soon as well. NHL, NBA. Don't be too scared off by NBA. Still a little college basketball as well. I've been getting UFC props on Bet365. That's pretty sweet. And sooner than later, the crown jewel, WNBA, Greg, is going to be around.
Yeah.
And WNBA, I didn't watch. I tried to watch one game. I turned it off after 5 minutes. I tried. I gave it a real try, but I crushed betting WNBA last year. Our tools just dominated.
Yeah, I'm going to check right now. What was my ROI last year for WNBA? It was, all right, WNBA last year, 2024, I had, 13.4% ROI on WNBA.
Amazing. Yeah, 14.05 for me. That's a crazy ROI.
Yeah, almost identical for us as well.
Yep. Anyway, come hang out, guys. Join the Discord, download the app, and I think Greg would agree. Turn notifications on. Like, if you turn notifications on, what a difference that makes. It really does. Even if you're not I don't bet every night. Dude, I'll look at my phone. I'll have like 100 notifications unopened because sometimes you're just doing things. But it keeps me cognizant of what's going on so I can always jump in and just place those bets. That's the easiest way to do it. So we'll see you over there. Patrick, that drop down in the top right where it says filters, that's where you can toggle on and off negative HROI. See you guys back here. Greg, anything before we go?
No, that's it. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget Wednesday. I know it's still 2 days from now. I just want to build it up a little bit. Luffy and I are going to be doing the show on playback as well. So it'll be a way to watch the games with us while we talk through bets.
I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we have some good K props in there as well. All right. We'll see you guys back here for the next one. Peace.